Boss refused to pay travel time, so I worked 30 minutes a day. Years ago, one of my employer's clients decided to set up a new office in Fort Wayne, Indiana. I got chosen to spend 3 weeks there getting the new space set up. Also chosen for the job was a guy from another division's Chicago office, Dave. I'd never worked with Dave before, but from the start, I didn't like him much. He was never less than 15 minutes late. He lumbered like a zombie, and I caught him dozing off more than a few times during the first week on site. Still, he was the closest thing I had to a friend in Fort Wayne, so I invited him out to the bar on Friday for all the company-funded drinks we could have. "I wish," he said. "I'm going home and passing out until Monday. The commute has been killing me." Wait, what? It turns out Dave's boss had been a jerk. Instead of paying for a plane ticket, hotel, and rental car like my boss had, he told Dave to drive. From Chicago, almost 3 hours away. "Dude, that is like totally no bueno. 6 hours a day just driving," I said. "Yeah, it sucks," Dave replied. "Still, it'll be killer money. That puts you at what, like 70 hours this week? Geez. Make sure you put in for your gas and tolls quick, though. The last time I got reimbursed for expenses, it took over a month." I could see the little light in Dave's eyes fade. "They're not paying for any of that," he said. Hearing that, I called my boss, who was as puzzled as I was. If Dave had worked for our division, he'd be paid for his drive time and expenses at least. We were both pretty sure it was corporate policy, not something individual divisions could ignore. Unfortunately, neither I nor my boss had any say in the matter. Neither of us knew much about Illinois or Indiana labor law, so all we could do was advise Dave to save his receipts for the IRS and complain to HR. On Monday, Dave was late again. After an hour, I was worried and called his cell phone. I just passed Portage, making pretty good time, all things considered. "I should be there in about 2 hours," he said, sounding perfectly happy. I figured he'd been required to stop into his office before heading out. "Okay, Dave, I'll see you then," I said. When Dave arrived a little after 11, the first thing he did was take a 15-minute break. Long drive, I understood. There was still most of the day ahead of us, and after the break, Dave got down to business booting up his computer. He had barely logged in when he stood up and announced he was taking his lunch. Okay, something was going on, but I had no idea what. After lunch, Dave finally got around to some work, putting in a good 20 minutes reading email before stopping by to see me. "I'm gonna take my second 15 now, then I'm heading home," he said. What?" I asked. Dave grinned like a nut. "Don't worry, I spoke to HR over the weekend. I didn't see Dave on Tuesday. His cell phone was going unanswered, and neither my boss nor I had any luck finding out why. We didn't try hard. Not our zoo and not our monkey, after all. Same for Wednesday, but whatever, he was probably just sick. Then on Thursday, I see Dave. Before work, at the hotel breakfast buffet. "Dave, I was getting worried when you were no-shows the last 2 days," I said. Dave laughed a little, and after we'd piled our plates with bad scrambled eggs and burned sausage, he told me a story. On Monday, the client had noticed him coming in late, doing no work and leaving early. They called our company to complain. Dave, in turn, was called into a disciplinary meeting with his boss and local HR, who were prepared to terminate him. The charge? Putting in for 32 hours of unearned overtime the previous week and not working at all the day before. Dave said they were serious, too. One of the guys from building security interrupted the meeting to deliver a box containing the personal effects from his desk. Dave had an ace, though. Well, 3 aces. An email from his boss instructing him to drive to Fort Wayne every day at his own expense as a change in work location. An email from corporate HR telling him that while he wasn't required to work overtime, he was required to report any overtime worked, including driving to or from a client. And a page from his division's employee manual covering paid breaks off-site. He then informed them that he was not working any more overtime. After 3 hours driving in, 1.5 hours of breaks, and 3 hours home, he was left with just a half an hour a day to do actual work. Less actually if traffic was bad. Oh, and corporate HR was willing to stand behind him on it. He'd just spoken to them before the meeting. It took them about 3 seconds to realize they were screwed, Dave said. And well, here I am, back in action. And since everything was booked last minute, I'm in a suite with a jacuzzi and my rental is a Cadillac.